How's it going, you guys? Cullen here, and today I'm going to be talking about how to improve your hinge movement patterns. So hinge is a lower body hip dominant movement pattern that's going to engage the musculature around our hip. You commonly see it like a barbell RDL or barbell deadlift. You can also do other variations with kettlebells, dumbbells, really anything. So we're just going to go over the basics of the movement pattern and a couple of drills that you can do to improve your hinge movement pattern. So whenever I'm teaching a client how to do a hinge movement, I usually start with what's called a PVC wall hinge drill. I'm not going to do it showing the wall here, however you can picture me reaching my hips back for a wall if you use your imagination. So here I've got just a stick that I took off of a mop. If you don't have access to a PVC pipe, that's a good next best solution. And I'm going to get 3 points of contact. My first point of contact is going to be at my sacrum, so right about there between the hips. Then my mid-back, so right between my shoulder blades, then my head. So if I'm doing any sort of loaded hinge movement pattern, I'd want to think about trying to keep these 3 points of contact. The next step in my hinge, I'm going to get into a hip width stance. I'm going to grab the ground with my big toe, pull my knees forward, and then reach back with my hips until I feel a stretch in those hamstrings. From there, I'm going to come right back up, squeeze my glutes, knees forward again, hinge back, keeping the weight in the middle of my foot, and then coming right back up. So the purpose of this drill is to teach spinal organization. One of the common faults while doing a hinge movement that lead to mid-back or lower back pain is when somebody is doing a hinge movement at the bottom, really arching their back to come back up, instead of keeping everything tight with a rigid torso where they can get maximal engagement at their glutes and their hamstrings during that movement. That's going to be a PVC wall hinge drill. Another fault that I've seen, particularly with RDLs and barbell deadlifts, where you're starting with a barbell if you're doing that type of variation from the floor or even from the top, and as you hinge down, letting it get away from you. So because we're holding onto a bar, we're not just loading into our lower body like with a squat and a bar resting right there. There is some upper back engagement with a squat. However, a lot more when we have a barbell or some other implement in our hands. So the fault would look like this. I'm bent at the knees, hinge, that bar gets away from me. If I'm increasing the distance between that weight and my lower back, it's putting more pressure on my lower back and I'm at a greater likelihood of injuring myself in that position. So here's how to fix it. While I'm in that hinge movement right here, feet hip width apart, I'm going to pull my shoulders back and down, bend at the knees. And I'm going to actively drive that bar back against me, going down and coming back up. In doing so, I'm going to engage my lats, which is going to help me keep a rigid upper back posture, creating full body tension so that bar can't get away from me and I'm less likely to injure myself. Now, if that cue didn't help you improve your hinge movement patterns, here's a drill that you can do to feel your lats engage, which can then help you when you're doing the movement to mimic that position. You're just going to attach a band to a high-up post like this or a pull-up bar like I've done. You're going to step in, grabbing onto the band, pull your shoulders back and down, drive the band down, pinch your shoulder blades together, and then control up slowly. I'm actually going to step back a little bit to get more tension on the band. Shoulders back and down, drive down, pause, and then control up slowly. You do enough reps of this, feeling your lats engaged but not totally fatiguing them, and then going into a hinge movement pattern like a barbell RDL, barbell deadlift, whatever it might be, and you'll notice that it's easier to mimic that posture to get those lats engaged. That's going to be a banded shoulder extension.